What's up, everyone? It's Gavin or Tweek.
What's good? What's good? It's Marcus or Pink.
What up? What up? It's Charles or Chuck.
What's going on, everyone? You got Matt or Haz, and we're joined here by a very special guest, one who's been requested many a times. We're finally able to get him on. What's good, TK?
What's going on, everybody? It's TK or TK. I don't know. I don't. There's nothing changing, bro. I'm just trying to. I'm here. What's up? I'm here. What's good?
Good, brother. I like the slow turn. That was my favorite part of your intro. Kind of killed that. Kind of killed it. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Been grinding a lot of the Grand Blue as usual. Been looking into obviously Tekken 8. That's coming up soon. I'm going to Frosty's to actually commentate the Smash section, and then the last, I guess, recorded Tekken 7 tournament. Because that's the Tekken 8 comes out that same weekend, so I think they're doing like Tekken 7 on Friday. Everybody can play Tekken 8 on Saturday, and then there's going to be like a Tekken 8 tournament or exhibition or something on Sunday. So it should be a good time.
Would you say Tekken's your favorite game, like your favorite fighting game?
Well, that's hard because I feel like I think overall I'd probably say yeah. I think right now is Grand Blue because I'm like very much enjoying and playing it and learning a bunch because this is like the first 2D fighter that I feel like I really gelled with like that. Like I was pretty decent at Street Fighter 6, but like this one is just fun. So, but I think overall, like as a for over the years of me learning more fighting games, definitely Tekken.
Yeah, I know you messed with Tekken for quite some time. Even when I first started doing like commentary gigs and stuff with you back in like Smash 4 or / early alt, I know you commentated Tekken, played Tekken, watched Tekken a lot, always would talk about it. So congratulations on the Frosty Fausty gig, man. And I definitely hope to see you commentate more FGC games. I definitely know that's something you've been trying to branch out to more and more as the years go by. So it's super sick to see that you're on the lineup.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to just do like I would like this to be my like full-time job and at all capacities. So like I just want to commentate. Like I just want to like it doesn't matter if it's FGC or not. Like I know I've done the PAX gigs and stuff where we usually do more fun stuff. Like we've done Among Us over there. We did some Mario Strikers at some point in time, Fall Guys and stuff like that. And like if I could get more consistent gigs in that realm, then I would just double down to that. And then eventually, if esports or my talents get recognized for like a TV show, then sick. That's where I want to go. It's kind of hard to get there right now, obviously, with the landscape of esports and just the industry in general. But I'm going to keep grinding and I guess till the wheels fall off.
Two things. One, when you said you're naming all those different games, and then you said Mario Strikers, and all of us just like nodded. We're like, yes, we enjoy Mario Strikers here. Two, even though the landscape is what it is now, obviously you've been around for a super long time. And speaking personally, you and the whole squad, the whole MDVA squad, what got me into Smash, honestly, made me want to take the leap to the next level when it came to competitive Smash. And so much of that came down to the culture that you guys, Marcus, you, Coney, and EE, and Gimmer, and everybody else there kind of created. So you've kind of seen, in my opinion, were a big part of the genesis of everything Smash. So when it comes to two things, one, when it comes to making the jump to other games, everyone says that's fucking impossible. What is your strategy to do that and to grind that and to figure it out? And it seems very frustrating and hard. So that's my first question for you. How do you, because obviously I think you're super talented. I think, 99 or 100% of people would agree and that you can make the jump, but how do you do it? Like Smash and FGC, especially if you're an old head, like you just know, there was a rift for a really, really long time. The rift has shrunk, but it still is there just a little bit, especially in terms of like the pies aren't that big in both scenes. So how do you try to make the jump over to different scenes, TK? It seems very hard.
Wait. So before we get into it, I just got to show real quick. All right. So if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Let us know if you have any questions for TK. He's an amazing guest, so we're looking forward to that. And then on top of that, we have the Patreon bonus content episode that we are going to record after this. We're going to be talking about Kowloon and Luigi in general because that character got second place. Usually we talk about that on the main episode, but we do have a very special guest, so we wanted to do more topics catered towards the guest. So, Haz, if you want to just do a TLDR of the repeat of the question real quick, and then, yes. Sorry about that.
TLDR, how the hell do you jump from Smash to fighting games or vice versa? In commentary, specifically, how do you do it?
Well, I don't think anybody's ever going to jump from fighting games to Smash. One, and that's kind of unfortunate because I do think that it's a good game. It's a fun game to talk about. There's a reason why I ended up talking about it for 12 years or whatever. But the jump from Smash to FGC has been slightly easier for me because of for lack of a better term, clout. Like people know me. I'm respected as a commentator in the space already. And like even for like the higher up commentators, the ones that like I look up to, like Yipes and Steve and stuff, like, they, when I first started to crossover, even before I even started crossover, they were like, hey man, we respect the work that you do and Smash and whatnot. So that helps a lot because one of my bargaining chips is always like, look, man, I just want some pools. You don't got to pay me any extra. I just want some pools. I just want to be able to like say that I've done it, put it in my reel, show that like I can talk about these games as well. And in exchange, I will do your top 8 or whatever Smash that you need to be done, and it will be done with expert efficiency because that's my main game. And so that helps a lot. The fact that like I stream and then like you can definitely see that there's actual interest in the game and not just like I want to talk about it. Like I only talk about games I actually like. Like if I can't sit and play it, then I can't sit and talk about it. And a lot of my streams now have just been me playing Grand Blue, or like when Tekken came out, I was like for 3-4 months straight I just played nothing but Tekken. And when Street Fighter came out for like a month or two straight, I played nothing but Street Fighter. And then I'll use whatever resources that I do have that I've made over the years to get just even small gigs. Like I was doing the stuff for Street Fighter. I was doing the ICFCs in Asia, which means I had to commentate at 3 a.m. And I was still like, hey, bro, the grind is the grind. You know what I mean? Like I'm supposed to be like, I'm not a known commentator yet. So I still got to, I'm back on ground floor. And that doesn't bother me because like, I think that's where I should be. I never get to the point where I'm like in my head about where I should be based off of where I've been before in other games. Yeah, I'm at the top of Smash. Sure. Does that translate directly over to anything else? Not really. I still got to prove myself in the other things. So if I never get a top 8 ever in these other games, I don't really care because I just want to talk about them. But like I like the fact that I now get to work with people that I've looked up to and wanted to work with forever. Being Steve, Yipes, Sayjam. I got the chance to work with Ultra David and James Chen and stuff like that too.
Damn.
And so yeah, it's been really nice.
Legends.
It's been a very nice grind.
Yeah, no, even when I think about my experience, I started, well, with all the stuff happening with my family, I don't have as much time to try other games, right? But I got to do a block with Yipes at Rewired Fest. That was so fucking hype because in terms of just my favorite commentator and who I like the most as a commentator within esports, I think Yipes is my favorite personally. So, I mean, he's such a vibe, and it's something that you can't emulate, right? I think when you're a commentator and you can't emulate it, it's truly something special. And I think Yipes is like on top of that mountain for me. And then I also got to do some Guilty Gear commentary with James Chen as well. So that was really cool in terms of just like the top level, top of the crop FGC casters. And I mean, especially, I feel like most Smash casters will look up to a lot of the old head FGC casters, you know what I mean? Because you usually start watching FGC and then Smash started blowing up later, right? So yeah, I think it's really fun. And I love that you're talking about the grind and not expecting the like, oh, hey, I'm a top Smash caster. I don't just get automatically slotted into X, Y, or Z game, right? You know about the grind because obviously you did the grind when it was the toughest. And now it's, one thing I love about FGC or just commentating in general when you pivot into another game nowadays, since the online is so good, there's a bunch of like online, like when I did the Guilty Gear tournaments with Series E with James Chen, it was online, and I got to commentate online with him, and I think that avenue is so much better than having to go out to locals and stuff, and there's so much limitations that now you don't have to worry about, right? So have you been commentating like some online weeklies and stuff like that? I assume you have.
Yeah, one of the ICFC thing is, that's fully online. I've done a couple of NAs too. I've done a TNS, and I was meaning to do. I was actually supposed to do TNS last week too for Street Fighter, but I think I had another obligation that I totally forgot about on Wednesday. So now I'm trying to get better at like actually using my calendar app. I almost forgot about this one, to be honest. I'm like, I went live like 20 minutes, and then Charles like, yo, you still good? And I was like, oh yeah, man, of course. So,
Right.
but yeah, I'm definitely trying to get better at using my calendar app for sure. But I think that also helps a lot too when it comes over. That's actually something I talked about recently. Is why it's easier to get into fighting games more often than Smash because the online is so accessible and usable. I know that we've got mods and stuff now, right? So, but not only do we have like kind of like abysmal net, but the training modes are not as good either. So, as far as in Smash without mods, and when you go into training modes, even like the base level of training modes for fighting games will give you everything that you need to know to like at least start to learn. If it's just frame data or being able to set up a certain situation to repeat multiple times or giving you some combo trials, that goes a long way into kind of just getting your muscle memory going and whatnot. So I think it's much easier to learn fighting games than it is Smash. And I think that's what is a kind of discouraging factor for people sometimes to get into Smash if they weren't someone who grew up with it,
It's interesting
Yeah.
because I look at it as kind of inverted, where it's like Smash is so beginner friendly, right? You don't need to learn any crazy inputs. You could just some people pick Kirby and hit down B, right? Like that's their favorite thing, or pick Link and hit down air, and like that's their favorite thing for their whole lives, right? Like that's super easy. But the way you're looking at it is like specifically in a competitive format, if you
Yeah.
wanted to get in something. But that's the thing with Smash is like you just start and you like it, and you're like, I want to get better. How do I do this? And then you need to like go out and do your own research and find it. Whereas fighting games, especially now, like kind of the renaissance they went through, especially over quarantine, is you need to have these resources or this game is DOA. Like it will not work. You can't have if Strive didn't have the netcode that it had, I don't think it would be half as popular as it was on launch. Like they did everything. The thing I really like about the FGC is that the community, it feels like, has a real voice in what happens and we have no idea what's going to happen with Smash. We want something. It might not be in line with what Nintendo or what the next Smash game has or wants. So I kind of love that about the FGC, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think when you from a casual standpoint, Smash is probably the easiest game to ever get into. Like as far as like a fighting game, you know what I mean? Like it's as you said, younger version of me, the 64 was basically just hitting F smashes and down Bs and down airs with Kirby. So and it was successful. Like
Success.
but yeah, trying to do that in Street Fighter or Grand Blue or anything like that will probably not net any type of success. That is a good point too about the resources as well, because we, the first Grand Blue, we all played that, but that was over quarantine, and the net code was not that good.
It was so bad.
So it was like fun to play with your friends and stuff, but like if you were trying to grind ranked, delay based net code was not really hitting. And I think with that not having real tournaments, not having real internet, it just kind of like put the game on a downward slope very quickly. Now, obviously, people still played the game, and it was popular enough to get a second one. But yeah, I think when you don't have the right resources for a fighting game, it definitely can be the nail in the coffin a lot faster than I would say Smash in any capacity. Obviously, we've had 3 games of bad internet, and we're still here. So yeah.
That's a good point.
That's how good the game is, right? And how popular the game is. I always thought it was like reverse. I think the barrier to entry competitively is very easy for traditional FGCs, but it's very hard for Smash. But then when you flip it in terms of like casual barrier of entry, it's like in the other way around, right? Where Smash is, a lot better. And then Nintendo doesn't really have to try to make the barrier of entry to competitive better, because that's not how they make money. So they're not really... motivated to do the other way around. But fighting games, they want to sell more copies. So we saw Street Fighter 6 tried to invest more into their casual like 1-player mode, right? Which was very funny. I think there's like a lot of funny clips that was made through that. I know you had one, right, TK?
But yeah,
that one was funny.
Yeah, the BLM clip was good. So
wait, Gavin, did you have something that you were saying?
I was gonna say just TK talking about his journey and everything. Last week, when we were recapping Let's Make Big Moves, I was mentioning that I was like right next to the casting setup watching like Charles and Phil like cast, and like I could physically see them like it really looked like professionals at work. And TK like going in depth with his journey, like it kind of reminds me of like I can see the flexibility in him as a caster when he casts Smash, and like I feel like the journey he's describing like kind of helps make sense of that. And I don't know, I just wanted to mention that. Like that experience was kind of cool for me because it kind of put into perspective like why, like I knew you guys were good at what you did, but like it kind of helped me have an even better understanding of why that is, like individually for some of y'all as well.
Yeah. The journey has definitely taken me some places. I think I really appreciate honestly the entirety of like everything that I've been able to do through Smash and through commentary, because there's like, pivots that like I'm glad I made. When we first started uh commentary, like, and we started getting big, it was like, me and E obviously, but like, E is just much funnier than me. So like I felt that it was because of that. I was like, well, we can't both just be here being funny. So like I learned a lot about
Yeah.
whatever game that we were doing at the time. I think it was probably PM. And then when 4 came out, I learned a bunch about 4. And whilst it maybe not translate to the like I'm Poindextering, like if you really like sit and listen to the stuff that I say during commentary, like it may not be the most technical terms, but it is getting the point across. And like that's all I wanted to ever do. Like whatever I wanted to make it so it was accessible for any and everybody to listen to and understand, and also wanted to be able to fill any role that is not being filled currently. So if I'm sitting next to
Yeah.
Haz and Haz is going crazy on some some metagame stuff or some matchup stuff, then I'll be funny. And then if I'm sitting next to EE and EE is dropping a bunch of jokes, then I'm gonna go talk about the meta or like keep the match keep the match going. And I think that's only a skill that I would have learned in this journey because of the people that I was sitting next to, kind of pushing me to go into different directions. And so I appreciate all y'all really to get me to where I needed to go, and I like love working with all of y'all that I've worked with throughout the years.
You should also give yourself some credit though, or more credit, because I remember when we were playing PM and we were playing Smash 4 and you still lived in Maryland and you were doing all the Xanadus and you would ask me infinite questions about the game. And I thought it was just because you wanted to be better at the game. But then I would listen to you commentate, and I'd be like, bro, I just told him that like a day ago, or I just told him that like a week ago, or something like that. I'm like, oh, like this is really what he's focusing on commentary. And it was just interesting to see, like, because I think that there are people who should ask questions, like the players should ask questions to people who are really good at the game, right? So that the players can improve. But I also think that should happen with commentators. And I think you were really the first person that branched out and was like, hey, like, what's up with this situation? Or is that move safe? Or like, what's the frame rate? Because you're not a big numbers guy. You never really asked me about like the frame rate. You're like, is that safe? Like, was that a true punish? That's something you asked me a lot. It's like, is that true? Right? Because it's just interesting to know for the audience, because sometimes things may not seem true, but they are true. And you're like, oh, that really works every single time there. And then, people can take that. Or there's a lot that people can gather from what you say. And I just remember you just asking me a bunch of, is that a true combo? Like, does that really work? Like, you just asked me a ton of things. So yeah, definitely give yourself some credit because you work hard. Like, you really do.
I mean, in that aspect, well, when we were younger, me and you always said we kind of like saw the game almost exactly the same way. I'm just not as good as you. So it was much easier to like ask you questions. But also because we were like doubles partners, and because I was actually doing kind of well, and you were like the one person, like before, in Brawl, I went from being like Mr. 17th place to just for some reason just going 0-2 at everything. And like that really like did a huge number on my confidence as a player. And I think you were one of the only people that has ever like continuously believed in me regardless of my placings. So when 4 came out and like I started doing good again, there was times where like I would like lose first game and you'd be like, bro, and then I'd be like, you're right, and then I would just do better.
Right.
So I'd be like, all right, but so like half of it was like wanting to be like good. I don't think I was ever going to be like a top 8 consistently person, but like for Xanadu, specifically Smash 4, I was definitely always in the 7th to 13th area for like a large margin of it. And then when Ultimate came out, it was like 13th to 17th, which is totally fine. I'm older now, like I didn't expect to do that well, but there was definitely people that like I wanted to beat just so like they will put a respect on my name. In fact, I remember at either Don't Park on the Grass or Port 6, one or the other. I went to some like local the day before. I'm drinking at this local. Some kids playing DDD, and like he beats me in the friendly, and we had to play in tournament the next day. And I remember him saying something like I could hear. I don't think he heard me or like he didn't know I could hear him, but I heard him just like, oh yeah, I beat him yesterday, so it should be easy. I fucking dog walked that kid, dog. I was like, oh, easy, huh? And so like the first game was like 1 stock 20%. The second game I almost 3 stocked him. And like I almost didn't even say GG's because I was like, it's just disrespectful that like you beat like a very inebriated version of me and you thought like, let's talk some shit now. And I was like, oh, you're all right. So yeah, I mean he was getting spiked. He was taking the big neutral air side B combo for like 70%. Like I was like, bro, I don't want to hear nothing from you anymore. So, but yeah, there was always a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm fully competitive. I just want to be able to hold my own one, and then I always learn games faster by playing. So if I have questions, it's to ask as a player. But then once I put myself in that mindset, it makes it a lot easier to like when someone makes a mistake to not just hound on them. Like, yeah, I've been in that situation. I would have up smashed there too. And you know why it may have got you punished instead of just being like, wow, that was a dumb up smash. You're like, no, I've been there. I definitely probably would have done that.
Or you can give insight on like what they were trying to cover. Like, oh, people up smash there to anti-air or to catch jump out of shield. Like you don't know that until it happens on your screen or if you experience it, which is, I know this is something that Haz talks about a lot in terms of critiquing newer commentators, but it's like you can study the game all you want, but if you don't play the game and if you've never entered tournaments, you don't even necessarily have to be PR'd in your region or whatever. But if you've only gone to tournaments for 3 months and you've competed for 3 months, you probably don't know how it feels like to play up against a top player or like someone that's seated higher than you or have a lead against someone that's seated higher than you or PGR'd and like have the lights glow up like how Spargo at main stage was up a stock and you could see his face like light up as if he already won. And I think most of, if not all the top level commentators have literally experienced that, right? So there's things out of the game that you experience by competing and putting yourself out there, putting your ego on the line, right? And putting your practice and all your hard work on the line at a tournament. And you get to go through these emotional experiences, not just in the game, but outside of the game. And you can relay that to the audience, right? So I think, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people want to skip that part. They want to skip the part where they compete and actually give a shit and really put their ego on the line instead of just being like, go into bracket. Well, I'm just a commentator. I don't give a fuck. Like, no, go into the tournament, really give a shit and try your ass off. You know what I mean? And I think you can't, there's so many things that there's going to be a huge missing link if you don't go through that process, at least in Smash, because in Smash, all the top level commentators have competed at one point in their life and were probably pretty fucking good at the game. Right at one of the Smash games they've competed in, or if not multiple Smash games.
Even in the FGC.
Don't do that. There's and FGC as well, right? There's a lot of correlations to that. So it's like there's going to be a missing link, right?
Think of the number one guy you guys mentioned, Yipes, bro. That's an Evo finalist in multiple games. Like
so Marvel 2 God, literally God of Marvel 2. Like
he's
not
one
just of the top 5 players of Marvel 2.
He's obviously hilarious and super important to the culture, but a part of the reason why he got to that place is because he was a really, really good player. They also lucked out that he's also like the funniest fucking guy ever. Like it just really worked out well. That that's the way it was. But I do agree. We actually, there's like a joke between a lot of the commentators where it's like, all right, it's time to cast, but we like got to get one more friendly in. We call him player first after. I don't know if people know this joke.
Yeah,
like Charles, like me or Charles won't get off the setup. Like we keep playing against like Parrot, like Light or someone. Hey, player first has. Come on, you got to start casting. Come on, get off the setup. Like damn, but I want to play, dude. I want to play. And I think, like you said, I think some people or some casters get into it to hear themselves talk or make jokes, and that's all fine and good. But I think your heart's got to be in the right place. That's the number one thing I always look for in casters. Like, do you actually give a fuck what's happening on the screen right now? And are you telling me why this is important and why this matters? It doesn't have to be super succinct or doesn't have to be perfect, but if that raw substance is there, that's what I care about for like new casters.
I think that, you know, I have a lot of thoughts on
go off, man.
On the caster
this is the time to do it.
Meta right now. But yeah, I think I can definitely agree that I feel like if you're going to skip that part of, you know, entering tournaments, even, you know, trying to play the game or even trying to understand it on a player level, it's gonna show in your casting. Like I think, you know, I think if you don't, especially if you don't like the game, that's one thing. I don't even know why would you want to cast the game if you don't like it. And two, like if you're not gonna play the game, that's definitely gonna show in your casting too. So I may not play online, but like I don't think I've ever went to a tournament and not played whatever the main game is there. So, you know, even if I'm like getting washed and friendlies, I'm still going to mess around. I actually entered Genesis, not this Genesis, but the last Genesis. That was the last tournament I entered. And I, you know, I had not practiced before that at all. And so, but it was nice to get back into that like tournament, you know, that feel like in your chest and like your head and stuff, get back into the mindset. And I almost went 0-2. I ended up like almost making it out of pool. I lost to 2 me brawlers. I'm really upset about that, but
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but the first, like, I almost went 0-2 because I ended up playing some Mithra or some Pyro Mithra and losers, and for some reason, like, I just threw away some stock, and it was like a super like healthy stock, and I was like, all right, so I had to buckle down. It was like last stock, last hit situation, and then some guy pulled up, and he had his hitbox, and he pulled it up, and he started playing Kazuya, and I was like, oh, it's over for me. This guy's playing on hitbox. He missed his first electric. And I was like, "Oh, it's over for you!" Like,
yeah, an electric on a hitbox.
Yeah,
what's going on?
And I was
That
like,
poor
these,
guy
these
right
are
now, by the
things-
way.
Huh?
That poor guy right now, by the way. He's like,
oh, sorry,
I
bro,
went an entire year without getting made fun of for this.
But I was like, you know what? These are things that like I would only feel as a player. You know what I mean? Like now, if I see somebody pick up a hitbox and they're on stream and they miss an electric, I'm like, I bet you that other guy right now is probably like, thank God.
Yep.
I think that's such an important thing for the culture, right? Like, because what the fuck are you talking about if you're not putting yourself in the shoes of these players? And how are you doing that if you haven't been there at least semi-recently? It reminds me, I don't remember this, Gavin, but a couple of months ago, you were rotating with Jude, and I asked to hop in online, and we were playing in Jackal. And Jackal at one point goes like no offense, because we were playing, it was like fun, good sets and all that stuff. He goes, no offense, but like, why do you want to play? Like, you don't really enter brackets anymore and stuff. I'm like, dude, that's how I stay sharp. Like, that's how I study comment. Like, this helps me with everything. Like playing, especially really good players. Like when it's really good players, and even if you're not a good player, there's so much to learn from what a good player does to your bad habits and to how they respond to your counterplay or how they do anything, man. Like, when I prep for commentary, it's either a combo of watching VODs of whoever I think is going to make it to the top 8, or if I know the bracket, I'm going to watch VODs for, there's this really good Greninja who has to play against Leo. What's the last Greninja he played? And I'll watch whatever, maybe play Tarek or something. I'll watch that set and I'll see what he does. And then I'll say that in the commentary. That's it. And I play. I have to play, just like with TK. I have to play, or like, what's the point? And something you said too, TK, that drives me nuts. If you don't like the game, and this applies to top players too. If you don't like the game, you're frustrated with the game. I don't know what good it does to openly bitch about it, especially if you're on commentary. Like, it doesn't help. I'm a viewer, and I'm like, I want to watch some Ultimate. And I get on, and there's some casters talking shit about how boring Steve is. Okay, yeah, great, that's true. But like, openly complaining about it just hurts, man. Like, it's just not good. And I'm sure I'm not completely innocent of never doing that. I'm not saying I am. I'm sure that's happened before, but I think it's just something that everyone should think of.
It's like one of those things though, like where it's bound to happen, you know. But like if that's your style, like your overall, like when people think of you, they think of like, oh, that's the negative guy. Then you're definitely doing something, you know, wrong.
I was gonna say too,
you want to bring more viewership to your game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I also think some people just don't even understand the base job of a caster, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, a lot of us watched Tekken this weekend. Like, what if you were tuning in? Like, I'm very casual in Tekken, but I love it. I love watching it. And part of that's the culture. Like, a part of that's like Steve and Harada, like the whole, like everyone involved in Tekken. Like, it's just so cool. And there are even things that they did. I'm like, why don't we do this more? Like, all this shit is so cool. And none of them were like, oh yeah, another Noctis. What a bitch ass character. Like, we should ban him. Because I'd be like, are you serious? Like, what the heck? Like, what am I listening to right now? Like, this is ridiculous. Really? Is that where we're at? Like, just none of that. I think, by the way, all the casters should enter Genesis this year and should play. Maybe not Charles, but everyone else should. Wait, actually, Charles, you've been playing Game & Watch.
Oh,
yeah. Watch right now. Yeah. You know about Game & Watch, Charles?
He plays Game & Watch a lot.
Well, it all started because Gamer wanted to reverse main me, and I was like, that sounds like the freest reverse main ever. He was like, no, Fox is broken. You just run away. And I was like, all right.
Have you played Game Watch in bracket?
Set 5, Game 5. It did go set 5, Game 5. Have I ever played Game Watch in bracket? No. I mean, it seems pretty difficult. I don't know if I could do it.
You're gonna pick Fox. You're guaranteed to pick Fox. If you sat down at Genesis, and
if I'm playing for my life, I'm picking Fox.
Genesis too. Like
we should enter. We should enter. We should enter.
The name of the tournament, bro. Like,
yeah, you're gonna Game Watch. Well,
you were at Genesis 3, Charles. Like you.
I was at Genesis 3.
Golly.
Playing Fox then, so.
Yeah,
I think I would have entered but I think I'm trying to commentate like 5 games there, so probably don't have as much time. You know, if there's
Grand Blue.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, that was the one I asked for the second most. It was obviously Smash. I told him I do a block and melee if it's with like Vish or I don't know if Chillin is back to commentary yet, but like Vish is like my guy and Toph. So I want to like work with them if I do that. And then there was Street Fighter there. There's Rivals there. Could do Nasby if I needed to. And so I was just like, I'm trying to work. You know, that's one of the things that like I really like is that like when I do go to tournaments, I want to work. Like I don't need to be on like 8 hours a day, but I definitely want to be on more than 2. So
Yeah.
It sucks because competing. I mean, I remember I mainly stopped competing when I started taking coaching more seriously because it's like I was coaching Void, I was coaching, and then after Void, I was coaching Tweek, right? And then I'm commentating, and then trying to compete while I'm also doing the other 2 things, and I want to hang out with friends. It's like literally impossible. You don't have enough time in the day, and there's a lot of times where even if you commentate, if you make it out of your pool and you have a block and they make the commentary blocks assuming you're not going to get out of pools because I mean it's not a shot to you or anything, but they're not trying to revolve their commentary schedule around you making it far in bracket. Like if you get out of pools and you have a block, you just got to go not compete and you lose. Like, that sucks.
Yeah, I think that was, and I think all of us have experienced that at some point where it's like you go to an event to commentate, you're like, can you add me to bracket? And then it's like you make it further than they expect, and it's like, well, now you gotta, I don't know. I always felt like at some point I had to make a decision, and I always just like casting was more consistent. Like I could always have a good time casting if I prepared for it and like made it my sole focus. Playing was a whole different story. Like who the fuck knows if I'm gonna play well that weekend or if my bracket's good or
Well, you're competing
anything like
against
that.
other people that either so it's like other top players have like either coaches or friends that are preparing for them, right? So it's like, okay, so, and then you're preparing to commentate. So you're like studying VODs that have nothing to do with your character, just the top players that are potentially going to be in whatever. All that time you're spending to prepare for commentary, or if like in my situation, if I'm preparing for someone else and I don't even have time to prepare for myself in a competition, it's like, it's like this weird underlying thing when you get so far in the Smash community in terms of responsibilities when you go to a tournament. Are you really going to half-ass competing? Because to me, that's the thing that frustrated me the most, where it's like, I mean, this sounds egotistical, but like I have faith in my ability to play the game when I put my all into it, right? And if I barely played because I was doing all these other obligations and I sit down and I play someone, I counted it like it feels like half and half where I'm making excuses, but it's like, man, if I practice like an hour a day, or instead of going to the gym for an hour a day, if I just played Smash instead, I would have smoked this dude in tournament. Like I missed this, I missed that. I didn't like reactionary tech chase on this situation. Like I would have 2 to 3 stocked this person, but instead I'm in this spot because I'm prioritizing other things like commentating the tournament, or coaching this or this, or preparing or doing content, right? Like we've been doing like Tweek Talk content, or other, back when I was on Beast Coast doing content there. Like there's times where you go to tournaments and you're so busy just doing other stuff. Even like TK was talking about commentating other tournaments, right? Where it's like, oh dang, do you even have time to go to pools if you're doing a Nasby block, a Tekken block, a Street Fighter block, your Smash blocks? Like it's impossible at a certain point, right? So it sucks because I love competing, but if you get more responsibilities and you kind of climb the ladder in other departments at a tournament, you just have more responsibilities, and it sucks.
Yeah, and those Long Islands are going to drink themselves up.
It's also like I don't know. There's something there's something always funny about like having to DQ yourself for bracket for commentary, because I could have went crazy, but
I love that. Oh, top 128. Oh, I got a cast. Sorry guys. Better look next time.
Could have been a top 8, but
you end up on a.
Have you ever known?
High note? Yeah.
Did you have you ever been in a situation where you can't, like, you're in your finals pool match and you're commentating your next block, and then you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna play it out. You beat the person, but you don't give them the win. You just beat and then DQ yourself. You ever done that?
Man, you should have. Yeah. Man, we had this guy, our friend Malcolm.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm fucking talking about. You gotta earn that shit.
Malcolm would beat you, but then he would let you go on. Like that was the crazy. He would like just play the.
That's soft.
I just want to know I could do it
right there.
I just wanted to know I could do
it. But the thing is, though, I feel like I would feel more defeated knowing that the guy who like he beat me and then was like, "But you could have it." Like,
what's the point of going on? What's the point? That's worse. I'd rather just lose. I DQ myself out of self-respect at that point.
I would report whatever happened. Like I wouldn't take the free win. No.
I would not do that to Charles. Is what I would say. I would not do that to Charles. 0%
I made it out
chance.
of pools and melee at an Evo, but I had to play like the actual Smash 4 bracket, and I was like, all right, I'm out. Like I'm not playing melee. Sorry.
Was it the Luigi?
Yeah. But something I wanted to say a while back, this is a little off topic, but I just thought of something so funny when TK was talking about the box Kazuya thing. But first, I wanted to say something that I respect a lot about Haz. Sadly, I'm giving Haz a compliment, but
True.
Nice.
Throughout the weekend, like every big Smash event, like every event that we're at together, he will take like over an hour out of his day to go back to his room and like fully prepare notes for like every projected match that's going to happen, especially like top 8, top 16, like the head-to-heads. He'll ask me about all the matchups. He'll ask me about my matches. And that's always just been really, really cool. But something, and you even mentioned Jackal Has, so I think this joke comes from Jackal, but he always tells this perspective when he's fighting like a Kazuya. Like the match starts and it's like, okay, this is definitely winnable. Like you're just seeing how they move and play the game. It's like, okay, I'm definitely going to win this. And then they hit you and he'll be like, I'll just turn. And all of a sudden it's Riddles next to me. Like as soon as they connect the first hit.
Transform into Riddles.
Yeah.
It's like an electric. Yeah, it's Michael Kim.
As soon as the electric connects, it's like, what just happened? Like turn around. It's like Riddles in like oversized clothes, like the other person's like outfit. Like they automatically transform into Riddles. And like, if anyone knows Jackal, like, the way he talks about stuff like this is so funny. Like I will like anytime I play against Kazuya, like I'll always think about that. Like it's going so great. They hit you once, they are Riddles. Like they have officially turned into Riddles. I just couldn't help it. Like not. It was like 20 minutes ago at this point, but I've been thinking about it the whole time.
Honestly, I was also thinking about something from that same exact moment, which is actually crazy.
Yeah.
But one thing that I liked about all of you still entering brackets is that the meta changes over time, right? And I think it's very easy to experience it through the screen, like through watching, like, wait a second, where did Palutena go, right? Like you notice it, but you don't understand it until you experience it. Like, bro, why are people complaining about Game & Watch? When I played a year and a half ago, Game & Watch wasn't even a character. And suddenly, like, you're playing and you're like, what? I can't do anything. Like you just get one tapped over and over. You can't hit a shield, and then you get hit by Nair and you take infinite. But that wasn't happening, you know. So like people are like, bro, I thought you just like avoided the smash attacks and you win. No, that's what used to happen, but now it's much different. So I think like getting that feeling of meta changes through playing is much better than just being like, well, I'm a commentator. Like I've seen it, I've seen the changes, but when you enter and you get that feeling of, oh snap, this dude can electric. Oh, he can electric. Or like they land the first grab, like that Kazuya grabs you, and then he misses the electric. You're like, yes, right. Like we're locked in. We're
all
chilling,
confidence restored. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. We're good. Like we're good.
Even if they're just doing 2-hit conversions. Like I remember I competed a little bit when like Steve and Kazuya were out. Like Kazuya's would just piss me off because it's like you don't even have to do the 0 to death. You don't even have to be Riddled. You just do electric into one area and that's 40 damage, like 40 to 50 damage. Like you hit someone in neutral with 3 electrics, you can be dog shit at the game and you can still kill them. So I mean, and that's something you only experience going into tournaments and fighting lower level Kazuyas, right? Like you can watch Riddles all day long, but knowing and understanding the power levels and the power dynamics of characters, that's why Steve is so strong, because the floor is extremely low. It's not that crazy to make a block wall and spam back air and up tilt. Like the floor is extremely low, but the ceiling is also really high when they start doing nails and stuff too. So understanding the floor will help you a lot when you're commentating pools and stuff like that. And that is notoriously the hardest parts of a tournament to commentate, because you're commentating people that aren't as good as like the top 50 or top 100 players in the game, right? But you're trying to make it very exciting and engaging. So
yeah, for me the floor is important too, or the ceiling is important as well. Well, the floor is important because then you understand the ceiling better. Like when I watch other Diddy's play who aren't Gavin, I see all these things that they should be doing and they're just not. You know what I mean? And not that you want to call that out on commentary, but it's something to note. Like, all right, well, maybe if he had stronger conversions, that stock wouldn't have lasted as long, or he went for down tilt when it wouldn't true confirm into up smash, but he went for the up smash anyway, right? Like just all these things that the lower level players are not as good as the top level players have, and things you notice, like it makes you sound more well-rounded as a caster. Like things that like it goes back to that Jackal joke where it's like, yeah, anyone on hit could be as good as Riddles, but what makes him so good, right? Like what makes him so good? And then you can give Riddles the credit he deserves when he gets up there. Like his neutral's so good. His recoveries are insane. He mixes them up better than anyone else. Like all this stuff, like it's just like a process of elimination. Like if you know what the bad ones do, then it's pretty easy to figure out what the good ones do and vice versa, right? Especially the other way. Like if you see what the good ones are doing, then you watch a bad one, you're like, all right, never mind. Like you kind of know what's going on here. But that's one part of it. The other part is feeling and understanding it. And the way TK said it, I agree with Marcus. You don't give yourself enough credit because just like watching Tekken or just like watching Marvel or any of those other things, Smash commentary and Smash in general, the culture around it is so important to its success as an esport, especially Smash since it's grassroots. Like the culture around it is the scene. And I think that's why Melee has done so well for so long. They have a rock solid culture around their game, a love for the game, a love for a certain play style, a love for certain characters, like all this stuff. And they really lock that shit in like really well. And that's the thing with alt that drives me insane. Back to what I was saying before is like people openly hate on all the time, which I get it. I understand. Like things get frustrating. There are a ton of whatever. I totally get it. And I'm not saying people aren't valid for doing that, but I'm saying in a game or in a scene where your viewership and everything else is based on the culture that you have, I think it's really important to think about that as you're casting and as you're playing too. It goes to our top players too. Like as you say things, like not that you can't vent, but like always think of it's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? Like there's always ways to do things is how I feel. So it's important, man. That's all.
Yeah, you made a tweet. My bad. You made a tweet recently about coaching. And I just want to say, you're spitting. Where did coaching go, bro? Like, what happened? Like, what? Like, I can't even remember what truly occurred to like for us to get rid of mid-set. I think it's because some people had professional coaches and some people they would just be getting coached by like their friends or something like that. And I guess they thought that was unfair. Or some people, I remember some people's argument was like, well, if they can't figure it out themselves, like then they shouldn't be up there. Like they deserve to lose. But like, I don't know. I've watched so many different sports and I've seen so many different games at the highest level. Like everyone has there's coaches everywhere. Like even when you're like an amateur, like let's say you're an amateur boxer, like you have a coach. Like
yeah,
like I don't get it. Like for your whole life, like you could be a 2-year-old doing, or not a 2, but like a 10-year-old doing like AAU basketball or something. Like I don't get it. Like what? Like I don't know.
There was a lot of dumbass pride takes that I really wish I don't want to call him a Melee take, but like 9 times out of 10 it was a Melee player when I looked. And it's just I don't understand like what's the we're talking about these unfair advantages. If someone tells me like something, it is still up to me to have to apply that. So like, you know, if I lose first game and you say, hey man, he's rolling a lot from the ledge, right? You should be looking out for that. And I am looking out for that now, but I'm not actually punishing it. Then I just have more information that I'm still not using, which I think is one of the things that people just think that coaching means you get an automatic win. And that's not true. Like the coaching part is great. Can you apply what the coach is telling you is the part that really matters in that whole equation. And I thought about this too in multiple aspects when like Spargo had won the summit and he was like, oh yeah, man, I have to, give a shout out to Mutual King because like he was my coach. And I thought about it and I was like, me and Mutual King do not see the game the same way. So like if Mutual King was my coach, I couldn't apply shit he probably said to me. But Mutual King was Spargo's coach, and obviously they see the game well enough to where they can do that. So I think that like just having a coach doesn't automatically mean you automatically win. I think it's a great resource. I think that if you don't have a professional coach, use your friends. Someone actually said that. They were like, I think that was one of my replies to someone. They were like, I think a lot of people are saying that like it's unfair to the people who don't have coaches. Make more friends, bro. Like I was Marcus's coach for some time.
I was about to mention that. I was about to mention, and you were the best coach I've ever had. Yeah, I was gonna say when I was playing PM and like I was really out there, like one of the best PM players. TK was my coach. Like And it was like the weirdest thing because he didn't really tell me much. He just would tell me if my mindset was like in a certain way, like bro, like you're just doing this too much, or like you feel like calm down, or like something like that, right? Like something really, really simple most of the time. But it wasn't like I had some like hired dude who's been studying for like their entire life. Like, yeah, man, I'm a smash like savant. I know everything. Like I do all the research. No, it was just my boy. Like, and
yeah. Sometimes people
it
just
was real simple
know
stuff.
Yeah, sometimes people just know the right thing to say to you to like get something to make it click, you know. And I think bringing it back to the culture, I think coaching is amazing for the culture. I mean, look at the NFL playoffs right now. My entire timeline is like which coach is going to get fired, who's hiring a new coach, who's doing all this stuff. Like the dramatics of it, bro, are right there. I mean, the HBox SFAT moment, remember Leo in the crew battle? He was getting coached against all of USA in Smash 4. Legendary moment for Leo, right? Like made his career. If we didn't allow coaching, that would have never happened. Like that was like a huge moment in Leo's career, truly. And it's just like, I think, come on, man. Like let's let it back, man. I mean, we got Metafy. What the hell? Like,
hold on. Gavin's a player. How does a player feel about it?
Well, first thing I want to say is I really like what TK said about like if the views don't match, like that. Like I just didn't really think about that. Like y'all know it. If someone tried to coach me and and we weren't like eye to eye, I'd be like, get away from me, right? Like, like it's like top 8. I'm like playing Spargo or something. Like, yo, like I'll do this myself. Like I don't want to hear what you have to say. Like,
what is bro saying?
Like I'm very stubborn and also like see the game in a specific way. So
yeah, like, and I think one of the things too is that like a lot of people when they think of coach, they think that like someone's gonna walk up there with like, you know, like a whiteboard and a lesson plan and like 3 laptops. And I'm like, bro, like real shit. Some of the times, like when Mark and when we cross over to Smash 4, some of the times when he was like in like a top 8 and I had mentioned something, it would be something as simple as, hey man, watch the way that you're ABKing from the ledge. Like I think you're getting caught doing a lot, you know, think about a different ledge option. And that was it. I would just get off the stage and then next thing you know, like his gameplay has changed in one aspect. Everything else you're doing, I don't need to tell you about nothing else. I feel like, you know, this is just standard Smash stuff, but I've noticed from what I was watching that you may have been getting punished a lot in this area. And that's it. You know what I mean? But like sometimes people just think I walked up there and I'm like, yo, by the way, this is 400 frames and also starting not crazy.
Someone should walk up with a whiteboard though. That would be fucking hilarious. Like that's what I'm talking. Like a water bottle, you know, like Gatorade.
A whistle,
bro, that would be amazing. A whistle. A coach, not a referee.
I think that would kill me. Like comes in, like with the sport water bottle too. He's like,
definitely.
all right, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Squirt in his mouth. Yeah. Bro, that's what I'm saying. We are hurting ourselves, and not for nothing. Tech and coaching, they had coaching, and it was great, man. And what it's going to do is make the gameplay better too. It's going to make the gameplay better. Not, oops, you're making one mistake, so you get to send for fucking losers, like you said, the ABK thing. I think, dude, yeah.
I think one of the things that for this game specifically, though, and this is one of the only good points that I saw against coaching, is that Smash is a long game, and like so, whilst that is true, and I think that would if people are trying to use coaches in pools and whatnot, it could be a lot. So I think that maybe it doesn't need to be like in every open bracket, but specifically for like an invitational style event, you should definitely be allowed to be coached or anything that like something where like the top 32. And like everything's getting played or something like that, or it's just there's enough time to allow it. And then time limit. You walk up there, you have 30 seconds to talk to your coach, and then we keep it moving. But yeah, I think I can definitely understand not wanting to do it for the entirety of the bracket. But even then on the FGC, I feel like when there is coaching, 9 times out of 10, it really is just something very quick. Like, hey man, watch the way you're jumping. You're getting anti-aired a lot, and then you're right, and then boom. I don't even feel like that was just like general advice for anybody in the game. Stop jumping so much.
Easy solution: just put a timer on it. You get 20 seconds to coach. Then it can't be that whiteboard situation. Enough for one sip of Gatorade and stop jumping from the ledge, and that's it, or whatever. There you go.
I'm gonna make that whiteboard situation now. I'm gonna be in the crowd already, like like with the notes.
When I enter Genesis, if I get on stream, TK, you better be there. Okay, you better be ready. Sunglasses on, visor. I want everything.
Oh yeah.
Something I wanted to mention was Marcus would give me advice. I would say at some points he was actually coaching, but Marcus was always around like over the years when I was at tournaments. Mm-hmm. So he always notices like y'all were saying, like the differences in mindset. And like he had actual red flags that he would mention to me before I played. Because usually when I'm playing, I don't ask anyone any questions. I don't even play that many friendlies. I just go up there and play. But if I was nervous and not sure what to do, I'd start asking like, "Oh, what stage should I ban? Where should I go?" And Mark's like, "Bro, once you start asking these stage questions, you always lose." and so like there's little things set up to the point where we've had so much experience over the years that it's so much easier to talk to him when I'm at an event because like the foundation's already set up. Like we can get just right to what's important. And that's always been really cool. Like I'll be like, okay, like just get right into something pretty vague and weird. Like I don't even, you know what I mean? But yeah, the people who know me well, like they just know like what's a good sign, what's a bad sign, blah blah blah. It's been really interesting.
It's been interesting to see you as a player just in general because I think there was times like there's you have the version thing that you're doing with version 6, version 3, 4, 5, but I remember there was like a specific moment where I feel like I just understood you as a player and your mindset fully. It was, I don't know if this is a summit or something, but I remember you were playing Wolf and I was like, I started mentioning this. I was like, there's something about Tweek's gameplay where I feel like he's making the right decision, but he just won't pull the trigger on it. And this guy got up from the ledge. I don't remember who it was. He got up. You turned around. He rolled directly to where he needed to be. And you didn't up tilt. And I was like, so mad. I was like on commentary, like trying to hold it in. And I was like, dude, I think I actually understand him as a player. Like I know when you're on and I know when you're off now. But when you're on, it's like you're easily one of my, like, if not my favorite player to watch. When you're off, it's just like, bro, that shit hurts, man.
It can be tough. It can be tough. I'm just like, because it's the same thing that it's funny. TK used to tell me this exact same thing. He would always say, "You know what they're gonna do. You're just not doing anything about it." And that's what I see when I watch you. Like I watch you play, and I'm like, Gavin, like this person. It's always for me. It's the ledge jump. When they start getting away with the ledge jumps, I'm like, you have seen this person ledge jump 6 times in a row. Like, I don't get it. Like, just hit it one time. Please, just hit it one time. Like, you know it's going to happen, and you're just not. So when I see you hitting certain things, I'm like, pack it up. It's GG's.
It's funny you guys talk about the confidence thing with Gavin, and I think we all have, like, in a way, and Marcus obviously more player or coach eye or whatever you want to call it, but caster eye is a real thing for sure, and I think that's why you were good at what you did, TK, 100%, because it wouldn't be like Bayonetta's double up B side B is not true on this character, like to Marcus, and be like, dude, stop jumping from the ledge, bro, you're doing it 1,000 times, because when you're a caster, you're honed in to look for those things so you can talk about them later and all that stuff, which is super true. The one for me with Gavin, when you start up smashing, like just YOLO up smashing, I'm like, fuck yeah, we're in there. He's feeling it. Once you start anti-air up smashing just on the ground, run up smash. How you beat Tilde? Up smash? Fuck it. Up smash again. I was like, yep, all right, we're good. We're good to go. It's going to be a good tournament. When you just start doing it, and it's working, obviously, but I'm just like, even if it doesn't work, I'm like, fuck it. He's playing confidently. That's cool. He's seeing something here. That's good.
I think we've talked about it on the show, but something that was interesting with Charles is Charles has coached so many different people. And even when he was coaching me, we would just talk about his other experiences or just like small, like little tidbits he had with other top players. He'd say like, oh, I was talking with Leo at like an Evo and I mentioned this to him and he did it his next match on stream. And, we were talking about like, the difference between, getting told something and actually like using that effectively and all that. So that was always something that was very interesting, especially if you see eye to eye with someone. Like oftentimes Charles would tell me something and I would also just be able to do it the next game. So it's a lot of fun, I think, when you're in sync and you're able to like, that's what makes coaching really interesting and really effective. But it's you have to, I guess, have the setup to get it to work because it's not just going to be an easy win like TK was saying. Mm-hmm. If anything, like I could see a lot of situations where I would rather no one speak to me at all. So
it also
y'all butt heads a lot.
Oh yeah, me and Charles like not like fighting, but like I mean, I feel like I disagree with people so often. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think me and Gavin. I think we see the game in a pretty similar way. In terms of like the player I coach that was almost 1-to-1 in terms of my ideals were probably void. But that, I think that was the fun thing for me to work with Gavin, because it's like we don't see everything specifically eye to eye. So there's a lot of things that I have to bring in where I'm like, when I first started coaching Gavin, I was like, please spot dodge, please get up attack. These are very like on paper strong options that are very, very good. There's a reason why people does mash spot dodge into, like, you know, it's scrubby. It's like the dumb bullshit ultimate thing to do. But, and I didn't say it had to be a backbone of his gameplay, but then Gavin would be like, but that's like scrubby, or that's like ugly. And I'm like, bro, you can always get away with one get up attack every set, at least one. Like,
yeah, he told me do one. He told me
I was like,
do
just
one.
do one and just see when it works, because you can definitely get away with it. You know what I mean? So that was a big thing. And I mean, that's why for me, it's weird, because I might have stuck with coaching, or coaching might become more of an actual career path within Smash or within any esports if there's mid-set coaching, right? Because then you're bringing more value to the table. Now teams might be more motivated to have a coach, because now it's affecting their the players' results maybe more directly because it's mid-set coaching. And I've had experiences with players where I tell them something and they are so talented or so good at the game that they instantly apply it. So that's why it might feel a bit weird, but I'm actually against it, just because of, like, I've firsthand seen the strength of it. And it's like, for me, I always cater my political Smash decisions based off of someone first coming into their tournament, their first time experience the tournament, right? I prioritize growing the community over catering to the top level of the community. And because I do this, because I want Smash to eventually grow to be a sustainable ecosystem, I value that more than like, oh, well, players want DSR 1+3, this, that. So like when someone comes into a tournament for the first time and they look at the rule set paper, they're like, Jesus fucking Christ, what is this? Like a fucking algebra equation? I want it to be a simple process, right? I don't want someone to walk up on their first tournament, they sit down, they play Tweek, and then they get fucking 3-stocked. And then right after, there's some dude sitting next to Tweek telling him how to 3-stock him even more. And then he's looking at the rule set, and it's like there's all these acronyms that he doesn't fucking understand. And it's an algebra equation for the rule set. And then after that first tournament match, they're probably gonna be like, dude, what the fuck just happened to me? Like, that was
kind of
bad.
legendary. Kind of legendary for your first tournament, though.
Yes, that was kind of funny.
It's kind of legendary. Like, and that player was MK Leo. You know, like
Right.
turn it into a success
I
story.
love viewing this as like a boxing match where like the professional is fighting an amateur, and the amateur, like, you know, finishes the first round, and there's like a chair and water but as they get closer to it, they like take it from them.
Yeah.
The top player has like a throne and like water and like a massage.
Right.
After like decimating them, like.
Yeah.
I'd also, well, what about rewarding people for being around and doing well? That's not a thing.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Honestly, I don't even know what the play is, but like,
it's a hard choice because it depends on what you're catering to, right? Like, I want to see the game played at a higher level, but I also value really high, like, because if you have the argument of DSR, right? Like, this is just, I don't want to turn this into a DSR argument, but the core argument for DSR is you get to see the game played at a higher level, quote unquote, or you get to see more skill expression, because players have to know how to play on multiple stages. They can't just play on one stage the entire set if you play with DSR with no gentlemen's, right? So what is player skill? Is it knowing that I can up smash on a small battlefield, but I can't up smash on PS2? Do you guys consider that skill? Like, how many knowledge checks do you want to happen in a top level match, right? Like, these are all subjective arguments, but it all really comes down to what you prioritize and what you think skill is and all this other stuff, right? So for me, I prioritize a person's first experience at a Smash tournament. I want that to be like all the rule sets and all that stuff. I want that to be catered towards them, because that's, in my brain, what I think is that's how you grow the community. If you make that experience very fun and simple and easy to understand, the chances of them coming back to tournaments and being interested in Smash and viewing Smash, oh, that one extra view, maybe this person is now more interested in Smash. We need viewership to survive, right? I'm thinking I prioritize the ecosystem, and I think prioritizing the top player experience is also important, but I think the ecosystem is even more important, because if we always cater towards top players or the competitors, there might not be an ecosystem, and we might take a time machine straight back to fucking Brawl, where we're fighting for pride and no money whatsoever. And I thought the Brawl days were really fun, but don't get me wrong, I would like it to be a sustainable system.
Gavin, cover your ears for this one.
Yeah.
Top players.
Go ahead.
don't always know what's best. Absolutely not. 1,000%. This is a team effort. This is a community effort. Where'd Marcus go? Oh,
I was like,
Marcus.
he's
Gavin left.
Top players, and he's like, oh, not for me, bro.
Right? Like,
No, I think straight up, like, this is just, I've been saying this forever, is that like I never want to cater to any top player, and I'm sorry, like I feel like a lot of them only care for the game, but that is like there's more to the game than just what you put in the Switch. And like I think that like when you stop catering toward a better viewer experience, then not you're stealing money from your own pockets, one, but you're stealing money from like just the entire ecosystem of Smash. Like the only thing that matters to them is, to a lot of top players, is how much they can make from the tournament. But there's so much more you can do with yourself as a brand when there's more eyes on the event and on you as a person. You can grow your YouTube. Like this is, Tweek's a good example. You can grow your YouTube. You can grow your Twitch. You can, you don't even have to be like, super, super like entertaining or like, dropping jokes. Because I always said that there was like two ways to get really successful on platforms. You're either really good or you're really funny, or, you know what I mean? And if you're really good, obviously as a top player, people are going to watch you because they want to learn how to get better. And I think that there's just like a lot of times in this community where like the community will actively work against things that I think will attract more eyes and also generate more revenue. As Charles said, more coaching gives more people jobs, more people opportunities to show skills that they otherwise probably would not be able to show. I think a coach on commentary sometimes like that just doesn't work because I think the way that they want to present the information is not entertaining, right? And like that's totally fine, you know what I mean? But like to not allow coaching or not allow coaching being a thing is rough. I think that there's stuff that we could do with the rule set that could generate more views because people wouldn't get fatigued from seeing the same stage and or character. This is why I've been wanting to, one of the things that Brawlhalla does that I really wish we would do is they have seasonal sets or seasonal.
That'd be so fucking hype.
Yeah,
we just try out like half the year crazy shit. You know what I mean? But it's only for a season.
I don't know about.
Well, I mean, just experimental rule sets that we can try out seasonally.
Send full tech and random stages. It's perfect. It's flawless.
Yeah. Well,
send that. Think about it. It's a perfect job. You lose, you're like, damn, I just got bad stages, dude. I would have won otherwise. Everyone feels good.
You're getting nothing but complaints, and you know how people are worse at the top players. So like, if they start complaining too much, then we lose regardless. It's a very fickle line that we have to keep the top players somewhat happy, and then we also have to keep the viewership happy. And then if the viewership is not happy, if the top players aren't happy, then it will slide down to the viewership. And if the viewership is not happy, then the top players can say tough shit, and no one cares, right? So I was thinking that we could do like half the year hazards on, half the year hazards off, and that will bring back the stages such as Smashville and Town and City, and even Lilat. I wouldn't use Lilat, but like just if you wanted to. And then hazards off, you could get rid of some of those stages. We could still keep Hallow Bastion. We could play WarioWare again, bro. Man. Y'all boys,
Pocket Incineroar for the
world.
Steve.
Gavin looks like he has something to say as we're trashing top player opinions relentlessly.
It was honestly the coaching thing. I was thinking, just based on what everyone had to say, I think the coaching thing could work. At least in like top 8. It's like, once we're in top 8,
I like that.
I can get that. Yeah,
it's probably like these players probably could find the time if they don't have a coach already to get a coach for top 8.
Or even top 32, but that helps a lot with the logistic part too. Yeah. Something TK mentioned earlier, which I didn't reiterate, is the logistic part, right? Like if round 1 pools are having 30 seconds of coaching in between rounds, is there someone to make sure that it's 30 seconds, right? Like at every single pool, like in the pool captain time, all this stuff. So logistically, it's just going to take more resources to keep track of this, and you are technically still adding possibly a minute to a minute and a half per set, which does add up over the course of a 3-day weekend, right? So if you have a specific cutoff, like, top 64, or if you make it into bracket or top 32 or even top 8, right. Or like it could be by day, right? If you make it to Sunday, it's top 32. Mid-set coaching is allowed. You have all this time to figure out who to declare as your coach and yada, yada, yada. And when there's less matches going on, because usually by the time it's like top 32, there's only one like one or two tables of the pool tables where they have the competition going on at one time, right? It's like way less, and people can crowd around and watch and stuff like that. So yeah, I like that idea. It's kind of like a in between, a balance of the two.
I think that's why TK mentioned the invitationals. So it makes sense.
I simply, as far as open bracket though, I don't really feel like you need to have like anybody watching, because I'll simply just snitch. So the minute I see your coach come up, I'm starting my timer. I'm like, oh, word. Let that shit hit 31 seconds. Hey,
I got the time.
I was gonna say,
GG's, you're DQ'd. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's not act like top players aren't getting coached via text message anyway. Come on, like, dude,
I've been thinking about this for so long.
Okay,
I've been thinking about this.
It is what it is.
Bro, I got theories from like Smash 4 sets years ago.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're right.
That those earbuds were a fucking phone call. Bro.
That's what I'm.
For sure.
I used to say that too.
Like live.
He's gonna jump.
I'm not gonna expose anyone. No, like why do I see? Why does it look like you're talking?
I think just also like it's because the stream's not that far behind. So even if like someone was watching the stream and I was on the phone, and you can't, like, if I have my AirPods in and I'm like, oh, I just don't need the game song because I listen to my own music. How do you know? My phone's upside down.
I am positive, Charles, TK, you've said something on commentary, and then instantly it happens. Like, yo, he's got to watch Jump from the Ledge, and then he covers Jump from the Ledge. You're like, fuck, like, was that me? Like, did I, like, shit, like, dude, I know you know that, and I know, Gavin, can you hear it? Like, have there been tournaments where you could hear casters say shit? And does it affect, like, has it affected you before?
The most recent one was Watch the Throne, where I could hear it, but I couldn't tell what y'all were saying. But most of the time in situations like that, it's just clear because I usually don't use headphones or AirPods.
Raw.
Cause I'm weird. I don't like feeling like restricted. Like, I don't know. I don't like.
You won't even do it for game audio.
I'm using speakers like a boomer for this podcast right now.
That's true.
So will you sacrifice game sound just for comfort? Will you like what trade off?
I don't care if it's Snake, bro. I don't give a fuck.
That's wild.
But I Watched the Throne. I did use headphones for a couple of matches just because of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes, bro, I don't know.
This is I think this is a great topic.
Like, it's like, bro, there's been situations where I swear they're on the phone, bro.
Oh, that, yeah.
Well, okay.
I was gonna say, stop wearing headphones
though.
at tournaments. If I cast top 8s, you get free coaching, bro. I'll just shout it out. Big Gavin,
it would be hard. That I think it would still be hard to play the
Gavin,
game.
do banana up smash. Oh, he did it. Wait, I think he's coaching.
No, but I think it would be hard to play the game while someone's like backseat gaming, unless they're very like they might say like a couple words per game. I can't imagine trying to play the game and be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, he's doing this, and then this approach is this. Like, that's you're trying to intake so many information from so many sources, but like one line, like he's gonna jump, like could do a lot, right? So I think there's specific things that you can say that it's like maybe one sentence or like a specific ledge option or that could be super impactful, but not a whole break.
I don't think it's that hard, bro. There's 3 stocks in that game, and there's a lot of time you can sit on that platform. So
you know how mad I'd be if my coach was wrong. I'm like, I'm sitting there in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, that neutral get up's coming for sure. And your coach is like, just in your earphones. Oh yeah, it's jump. And you're like, all right, man, I got it. Jump, and you go for the jump rate and then neutral get up. I'm like, I'm turning. I'm hitting.
Instantly hang up.
Yeah, they pull up the phone. Oh, he must have not like that song wasn't hitting.
Yeah, the song wasn't hitting. More like that coaching wasn't hitting.
Bro, one of my secret fears on casting is if you can hear me, Gavin, and I say something, and I'm like doing analysis, and you just disagree with me, and it pisses you off. Like, that has been like a secret fear I've had in my head for a while.
Oh,
like,
bro.
Okay, yeah.
Bro. Gavin's like, that happens all the time with you. No.
With me, yeah.
I had a relatively.
By the way, we got to speak about your longevity on this podcast. Huh?
I had a relatively recent set at a major, and it was like. It wasn't even like the crowd, like it was, I could.
Oh, I know which major it is too. I know what story you're about to.
Stop. I could mostly hear the commentary, and that's it. And I was getting mad at everything they said.
It wasn't you, Haz. It wasn't you.
It was not me.
Me and Coney, Marcus's favorite.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yes.
But yeah, and I was mostly upset at myself for like why like I'm getting like I'm not gonna
letting
play
it
well.
affect you. Yeah.
dude, it's hard. Like you just want to
Doesn't
yell at him.
matter,
Like
like-
shut up. Like
Oh.
you're wrong.
They're not like getting paid $1 million to do this. Who cares if I agree with what they have to say or not?
Hey,
But,
say
like,
that again though.
Huh?
Say that again about how much we're getting paid.
I said they're not getting paid $1 million.
Thank you.
True.
Yeah.
True.
All right, true.
Bro,
But if they were,
I shouldn't expect them to be like perfect casters or something.
Mhm.
But I personally have a gripe with when a caster like disagrees with the decision and like that's their main conversation point. Like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. Like,
See,
or my other one that I might dislike even more is like, yeah, look at his face, bro. Like,
oh, he's mad.
yeah, I'm like, bro, I'm about to
Now I'm mad.
Like now I am mad.
To be fair, there's definitely some situations in the game where like you have made an absolute grave error that should not be made by anybody, and like I think like if you try to reach like someone's ledge get with like Falcon Punch, I would be like, all right, yeah, I wouldn't. Don't think I would have done that either. But normally, yeah,
I
hate when people are
advantage situation where it's like, oh, he shouldn't have landed on the platform.
He shouldn't have monkey flipped right there.
Like it's like, bro, I'm getting hit 1,000,000 times. Like we're all guessing in this situation. Like what do you want?
It's more like hindsight or Monday morning quarterback, where it's like, oh, he shouldn't have done that. It's like, oh, yeah, obviously after the fact,
he shouldn't have get him attacked. It's like,
well, and like better commentary is like desperately trying to get out of the situation. Tweek doing anything he can, like rather than like that's bad. It's like, okay, like come on.
Or I hate when commentators will be like, well, I would have done this. It's like, oh, so you're trying to prop up your own gameplay by saying the play that you know would have worked after seeing that. So we don't even know if you're lying. Like it's so insane. Like I've worked with commentators that will literally turn it about their, like I'm commentating like a local or something, and they'll start talking about like their bracket, like, oh dude, like da da da, and it'll remind them about something that happened earlier in bracket. And it, to me, I feel like this is a topic I wanted to talk about, just like what is the main job of commentary? And I feel like a lot of commentators might not even know that or subconsciously deviate from that, right? You are trying to make the match entertaining for the viewer. I'm not trying to like, I'm not, and this is something I used to do back in like Smash 4, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, I'm commentating this top player. If they watch the VOD back, I don't want them to get mad at me for what I say. But that is not the priority. I don't give a fuck what they think. I'm trying to entertain the viewers, right? That is my main job. And that's why I even started deviating from like saying a bunch of frame data, because I came from like a coaching background and I competed a lot. I started to go away from that because it's like the way, and this is something I think TK does flawlessly, is he can break down something that's analytical, but it doesn't seem analytical because he's not bringing like a bunch of frame data or something like that, but he's like, this is safe. Like he's breaking down these situations, but he's making it very digestible. And I think that's what, one of TK's many strengths when it comes to commentary. So I just feel like so much people, the way they commentate, they're not thinking about that. And that is a big problem because you start making it about yourself or all this other stuff. And yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Talking about Yu-Gi-Oh cards or whatever. But listen, so what we got is I agree, Charles. And I think even saying entertained, I don't want to say that's too strong, but your goal is if someone tunes in, tell them why or give them a reason to stay. Like that's always my thing. Why the fuck should I care? Who is playing? Why is this interesting? Why are you as the caster invested? Like who gives a fuck? Like what is the point? And that's why I do so much research all the time. Why the fuck should I care? Who are these two players? I've never seen this Roy before. I've never seen this Yoshi before. What's up? Like, do we know them? Are they ranked anywhere? Like, what's the deal? Is this matchup really hard? Is one player seeded higher? Just think about every angle as possible that makes it interesting to you, and it's probably interesting to the people at home. Or think about, if I was at home right now, why the fuck am I still watching you when I could just go on YouTube and watch anything else that I wanted right now? It could be anything. Why? And that even applies to higher level matches. Like, why the fuck? Tweek versus Leo, I'm a first time watcher. Why the fuck should I care about this? Okay, well, here's
that
all the
shit's
reasons.
lame. Don't watch that, bro.
Well, that's usually what I say, but yeah, that's my thing. Is like even simpler than like you need to be entertaining, because then I feel like people feel pressure to be funny, and then they're not funny, and it doesn't work. It's like, nope, you don't have to be funny. You could be engaging in a very different way. Like, why be passionate? That's why I was talking about playing and caring about the scene and bringing all that. That's probably why I didn't even think of that. That's probably why I get so mad when people dog on the game, because it's like, you're just telling me to close out of the fucking tab, man. Why would I? You don't care. Why should I care? You're there. You're getting paid to be there. Why the fuck should I keep watching? You don't even want to be there. What's up with that?
Yeah. To that point, though, like that is definitely what I've tried to accomplish throughout the last probably like 6 to 7 years of my commentary. There was a point where I definitely did care that top players, but this was like, you got to understand that like I came from the era when like there was actual conversations on if commentary was even necessary. Like people were like, I don't know, like they're not really adding anything. Like we could just have gameplay, whatever. And so like at that point, you do have to like appease to the player. You have to be like, oh, I want them to know that I'm smart. I do not care if you think I'm smart. I know, like I've watched this game for 12 years. Like you can put on a new Smash right now, and I still will be able to like give you the context of what is happening on this screen without even knowing, just having basic platform fighter knowledge of what's good and what's bad. Right now, obviously, you know, once you have time to sit down with it, you get more and more knowledge. But the biggest thing is that like in that chat of, you know, a 10K chat, right? 2K of those people at best really know high level Smash. Yeah, I'm not gonna commentate for you. Like that's not who I need to capture. I need to capture those people who walked in for the first time and they're gonna be like, oh, I wonder what's going on. Oh, this is a tournament. Oh, these guys are, you know, very entertaining. Like I feel like I'm engaged in this match. Be it they're funny, be it they're saying the way that you're presenting the information is easily digestible, or you just have a good voice. You know what I mean? And so when I see complaints from especially mid-level players or whatever that like are like, oh, I feel like these commentators don't know enough. I think it's because they want like an analyst desk, which also we've tried. And then when we tried the analyst desk, you said it was boring, so we stopped doing that. And so like you have to understand there's a difference between a commentator, you know, a caster, and an analyst. You can be analytical as a commentator and find your pockets where you can talk about it. But for the most part, you are almost always like 99.9% of the time, you are there to be entertaining before anything else. Like entertaining, edutainment is what they call it. So educating some people and then entertaining while doing it is the main focus of commentary, in my opinion. I feel like if you don't see it like that, and I don't know any other way to say it, but I think you're going to end up being a bad commentator. I think that's how I see it. You don't have to agree, but that's just how I feel about commentary as a whole. If I'm not entertained, or if you're using too broad or too exact of wording or verbiage that only people who like actively play and or watch the game will understand, then you're missing out on a large part of the audience, and that means that you're most likely going over the head of more than 50% of the audience, which thus means it's not a good cast, in my opinion.
Yeah, and usually the audience you're talking about that are Smash veterans, they're the most vocal. So like the people that are pissed off that you didn't say Monado Arts instead of Monado or whatever, right? Like that's the main problem, in my opinion. So it's just taking the feedback correctly, right, and understanding it.
I was going to say that's like the number one skill of a commentator too, is being able to take feedback in and figure out what is actually good feedback and will help you become a better caster, and what's just people. I've said before, people might just not like you in commentary because you look like someone that bullied them you sound like them, you know, like, or they remind you of something that they don't like for no reason. So you're never going to win them over. Just don't worry about it. But sometimes people give you good advice and give you good feedback. And I'd say just being able to sift through what's good and what's shit feedback is one of the best skills you can have as a caster. So I think I said that before, but anyway, Gavin.
Yeah, I guess that about wraps it up. Thank you so much to TK for being a guest today. We're going to go into the Patreon content. We're going to be talking about Kowloon. And thank you so much for supporting the show. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. And have a good one.